Oh no! I'm going to lose. Hey everyone, welcome back. Today, I'm going to explain how to play Kayle in the mid lane. Kayle is an incredibly powerful late game carry, but she's also high risk and very fragile early on. Honestly, she's a champion that requires smurf level skill to pull off. I've broken down how to survive the landing phase and evolve into a late game monster. Kayle might look like a top tier pick with a 55% win rate in the mid lane, but don't be fooled, it's a trap. The 55% win rate is inflated by one-tricks and smurfs. Don't expect to replicate those results. She's not an easy win champion. Kayle is heavily team-reliant. Without at least one dedicated tank and a fighter on your team, you'll barely even get the chance to land an auto attack, let alone carry. In this match, our top laner got tilted seeing my Kayle pick and went absolutely insane, locking in Varus top. This is exactly why Kayle is so hated by teammates. She really tilts people. The reason everyone hates Kayle is simple. She's a non-factor early game. You're basically forcing your team to play 4v5 until you hit your power spike. Before level 5, Kayle is essentially useless. Even if your jungler is fighting nearby, you're stuck under your own tower clearing minions and can't rotate. You're putting so much pressure on your jungler just by picking her. But once you hit the late game, Kayle has the potential to absolutely take over the match and blow away all that early game disadvantage. So, if you ever see a Kayle mid on your team, I know it might be frustrating, but please, trust in her late game carry potential and try to support her through the early game. The ultimate test of patience. Before level 5, you cannot afford a single death. Don't force fights. Stay safe and focus purely on farming from level 1 to 5. Until you hit level 5, rely on your E and Q to secure last hits on minions from a safe distance. Once you hit level 5, you gain bonus attack range, unlocking your ranged attacks. This is when your farming really takes off, allowing you to secure gold much more consistently than before. Life before level 5 is extremely tough for Kayle. Since you're usually against ranged mages in the mid lane, you'll be constantly harassed and poked down. Play it safe and prioritize your health. Only go for the CS you can safely secure with your skills. Don't overextend. If you're ever landing against a Kayle, don't blindly shove the wave and keep hitting minions. That's exactly what she wants. Instead of shoving, look to zone her off the wave. Kayle absolutely hates being zoned out. It's the most effective way to deny her gold. This Swain actually knows his stuff. He isn't blindly shoving the wave, he's zoning me out perfectly. Honestly, I'm really struggling to get any CS here. Here is an explanation of the details and key strategic points for each of Kayle's abilities. Kayle is a hyper carry who transforms as she levels up, so understanding her ability kit is the key to victory. Passive, Divine Ascension. This is the foundation of Kayle's power. Each auto attack grants attack speed, and at max stacks, she gains bonus movement speed. At level 1, she's melee, but once you hit level 5, your range extends to 525, making you a ranged champion. At level 9, max stacks unleash those waves of fire on every auto attack. And finally, at level 13, you gain another 50 range, and that's when you truly become a monster. By running runes like Lethal Tempo, you can achieve incredible attack speed right from the start. Just remember, keep those stacks up by hitting minions before every team fight. It's crucial for your damage output. Question Radiant Blast is a piercing skill that fires a wave of energy in a target direction. It slows enemies' hit and, most importantly, shreds both their armor and magic resistance by a percentage. Since it pierces, it's perfect for clearing minion waves while harassing your opponent at the same time. This is your go-to ability during the early landing phase. By shredding the enemy's resistances with your Q, you set yourself up to land massive damage with your follow-up auto attacks. W is Celestial Blessing. It's your utility tool for sustainability and mobility, providing both a heal and a movement speed buff to you and a teammate. The heal amount and movement speed bonus scale with your ability power, AP. When you go for an AP build, this heal becomes incredibly powerful, giving you a huge amount of sustain. Because of its long cooldown, don't waste it on simple poke. Save it as a utility tool for emergency escapes, or to help out an ally in need. E is Starfire Spellblade, and it's the bread and butter of Kayle's damage output. The passive on E adds bonus magic damage to your auto attacks. When you activate it, your next attack deals additional damage based on the target's missing health, making it an excellent execution tool. Don't underestimate Kayle at level 1. Pre-stacking, followed by an E activation, gives you the burst you need to secure an early kill. It's an incredibly reliable execute. Kayle might look fragile at level 1, but with her passive stacks and E, she's deceptively strong. She's arguably the strongest champion in a level 1 all-in if you play it right. R. Divine Judgment. This is the ultimate defensive tool in Kayle's kit, granting 2.5 seconds of invulnerability to your target. Use it wisely, and you can completely shut down the enemy's burst combo. Even while invulnerable, you can still continue your auto attacks. Once the effect ends, it releases a burst of magic damage around the target. This makes it a perfect tool to stay aggressive while negating incoming damage. Be careful, though. CC will interrupt your ultimate cast. Don't rely blindly on your invulnerability. High-level players often build items like Quicksilver Sash to cleanse CC, allowing them to keep attacking without interruption. That's the smurf way to master Kayle. Whether you go AD or AP depends on your goals. AD focuses on early kill pressure, while AP offers superior sustain, utility, and consistent late-game performance. There's no better build. It's all about what your team needs and how you want to play. Going with an AD/crit build brings significant weight to your auto attacks. It makes it much easier to secure kills and puts immense pressure on your lane opponent right from the start. The biggest advantage of an AP build is the synergy with your kit. Your W, Celestial Blessing, scales incredibly well with AP. As you build more items, your healing and movement speed boost become massive, making you an invaluable asset to your team's survivability. AP builds also make it easier to stack attack speed compared to AD. With higher attack speed, your basic attacks feel much smoother and more fluid, which is why many players find it easier to play than the AD variant. Both AD and AP builds offer insane late-game carry potential. However, if you value comfort and consistency, go AP. If you prefer high burst, early game kill pressure, and the raw satisfaction of critical hits, AD is your path. Ultimately, the best choice depends on your playstyle, your team's needs, and your matchup. Experiment with both and see which one fits you best. Today, we're diving deep into the AP Kayle build. It's the go-to choice for players who want to blend high-end utility with massive late-game magic damage. Let's break down why this build is so consistent and how you can maximize its potential. Kayle is a level-dependent, auto-attack-based carry. Her kit thrives on both attack speed and ability power, as both stats directly scale her damage output, her healing, and her overall utility. Nashor's Tooth is the cornerstone of AP Kayle. With its perfect blend of attack speed, ability power, and the on-hit magic damage, it synergizes beautifully with her passive and kit. Simply put, it's the best way to spike your DPS and serves as the essential core of any AP build. When should you prioritize Nashor's Tooth? It's ideal when you have room to farm and expect long, drawn-out team fights, especially against tanks or bruisers. However, if the enemy has high burst damage don't be afraid to pivot. Building defensive AP items or health-based components first can keep you alive long enough to actually dish out that damage. Dusk and Dawn is a game-changer for Kayle. Its passive allows your on-hit effects to trigger twice, which scales incredibly well with your passive. It turns Kayle into an absolute late-game monster. If you're looking to maximize your DPS, this is the item. Just remember that it relies on your attack speed. The faster you strike, the more value you get from that double proc effect. This item truly shines after you secure a kill or assist. Once that buff kicks in, your DPS enters another level, allowing you to dominate team fights effortlessly. It's the perfect snowball tool for a late-game carry like Kayle. While AP and hybrid builds remain the gold standard for Kayle, going full AD crit is a viable path, but it's highly situational. It depends heavily on your team's composition and your personal playstyle. Are you the team's primary source of magic damage, or do you need to cut through high-health tanks with physical shred? That's the question you have to ask before locking in your build. Here is a detailed explanation of the rune setup recommended in the video to maximize Kayle's potential. It is crucial to use a configuration that compensates for her early game weaknesses while accelerating her hypercarry capabilities from the mid-game onwards. Lethal Tempo is the absolute core rune for Kayle. Since her passive relies on landing consecutive attacks to ramp up speed and range, Lethal Tempo acts as an accelerator. It lets you stack your passive faster, smoothing out your early landing phase and turning you into an absolute DPS machine in team fights. Kayle's E, Starfire Spellblade, adds bonus magic damage to your hits. When you combine this with the high attack speed from Lethal Tempo, every additional strike directly translates into a significant spike in your DPS. Essentially, the faster you attack, the more value you extract from that bonus damage. Lethal Tempo offers unparalleled late-game scaling, but it comes at a cost. It makes your early landing phase incredibly difficult. Without a defensive or burst-oriented keystone, you're very vulnerable early on. It's a trade-off. You sacrifice early game stability to become an unstoppable monster later. If you're new to Kayle or facing a heavy poke matchup, I highly recommend Fleet Footwork. It sacrifices some raw DPS, but the sustain and movement speed boost are absolute lifesavers in the early game. It allows you to survive the lane, stay in the game, and reach your late game carry potential more consistently. It comes down to your priorities. Fleet Footwork gives you the sustain and mobility to survive those brutal early lanes. However, if you're chasing absolute DPS perfection, Conqueror or Lethal Tempo are the way to go. They sacrifice early safety for unmatched late-game power. Choose your rune based on your matchup and how much risk you're willing to take. For those who prefer a safer lane, let's call this the botanist build. It's all about Fleet Footwork. Just like a botanist nurturing a plant, you're nurturing your early game health with sustain and mobility. You're trading away some raw explosive power for the ability to stay rooted in the lane and scale safely into your ultimate form. Early on, you're pushed under turret and don't have a luxury to roam for honey fruits. But keep your focus. Once you hit your mid-game items, you'll become a gold farming machine. Plus, with the extra healing from fruits and your scaling stats, you can sustain through almost anything. It's all about playing the long game. Once you hit level 13, Kayle transforms. Your range expands, and your waves are permanently active. At this point, you aren't just a carry, you're an executioner. If you've played patient, managed your farm, and hit your item spikes, you'll find that you can tear through the entire enemy team. Until then, stay disciplined. Avoid forced fights, keep farming, and wait for your time to become the judge, jury, and executioner of the rift. A true smurf Kayle never starts a team fight at 0 stacks. Before the engagement breaks out, you want to be actively hitting nearby jungle camps, a stray minion, or even the objective to pre-stack your passive. Stepping into the fight with your maximum attack speed and waves already online lets you unleash your full burst from frame 1. It's all about maintaining momentum. Kayle is notoriously squishy. In team fights, never overextend. Your ultimate defense against CC is spacing, staying right at the absolute edge of your attack range where enemy abilities can't reach you. You aren't a frontline brawler, you're a sniper with a minigun. keep your distance, and let your waves do the work. So, I've gone over how to play Kayle, but picking her for the mid lane is still something your teammates tend to dislike. Remember, Kayle is a full build hyper carry, not an initiator. You never want to engage first. Position yourself right behind your tanks and fighters, and just auto-attack the closest threat in front of you. Think of yourself as a turret. You don't chase, you hold your ground and melt whatever walks into your range. Never force the engage. Focus on hitting the closest safe target. Hold your ultimate for yourself or your hyper carry, and stick close to your front line. That's how you turn Kayle into an unstoppable win condition. When you have an initiator on your team, you have the perfect bodyguard. Use them. Don't split push alone when your team is posturing for Dragon or Baron. Your presence is what turns a 5v5 standoff into a total wipeout. Stick with your front line, play as their shadow, and unleash your DPS. Remember, Kayle isn't just about farming, it's about knowing when to stop farming and start carrying. Once you hit the late game, splitting side lanes becomes a viable option. But make sure to check the conditions. You can win the 1v1, your team can hold their own 4v4 without melting, and no major objectives are spawning soon. If Dragon or Baron is coming up in under a minute, ditch the split and group up. Here is your ultimate decision-making rule. If you're fed and your team has a front line, prioritize grouping for team fights. If your team is falling behind and you need to create pressure elsewhere, split push only when objectives are far away. And whenever Dragon or Baron is coming up, always hard push mid and group. When your team lacks a front line, make sure you never become the meat shield yourself. Stay disciplined, stand one step behind the person forced to step up, and focus on dishing out damage safely for as long as possible. Down 3 inhibitors, completely cornered, and you still carried them across the finish line. That is the true power of Kayle. You survived the storm, scaled to the absolute limit, and turned the tables when it mattered most. Epic comeback! That said, Kayle is a champion best suited for smuffing. Unless you're experienced with the pick and playing with a full premade team, you should probably avoid playing her.